and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel, guys, where, boy, do we have some analysing to do. That was an absolutely enthralling semi-final first leg, and coming up today, we're going to be talking all about what happened there between Barca and Inter, and in particular, what a display we saw from Lamine Yamal. There's been some incredible reactions to what we saw from the 17-year-old, and also today as well, we are going to start to look ahead to the second leg there at San Siro with Alejandro Balde and Robert Lewandowski discussed. Will we be in a better position come the second leg? But we also have to discuss the injury to Jules Kounde, guys. It is all on the way for you here today. Get yourselves ready and let's do this. But let's first of all kick off with some super thanks shout-outs here on the channel, because Quiroga predicted an easy game before this one started, and he says right there, never again. You know, nothing ever comes easy for Barca, but it makes it all the more sweet when it does go right. And I've also got here incredible support coming in from Norway. He's been with me here for many, many years, and I really appreciate that. It's been 10 years since Barca last won the Champions League, but are we about to end that drought? This could still be our moment. Because what a game it was, guys. What an occasion, what a contest it was on Wednesday night there. Barca, I think, played very, very well. Obviously, we had our lapses. Obviously, we conceded 3 goals that we really wanted to avoid. But I think apart from that, given the way we were struggling, you know, physically, a little bit mentally as well, I thought we did extraordinarily well. And Barca really made the game what it was. You know, Inter played their part. They had that very contrasting style. Of course, they played very defensively for much of the game, but they did have their moments, and in the end, it was a really fascinating battle. And I've got to say, guys, I've got to give huge credit again to Hansi Flick, and I believe the kind of football that we're seeing here, it's a breath of fresh air, because do not forget, in the modern game, it's become quite robotic football. You know, you see a lot of matches here, a lot of different teams, a lot of systems whereby the players have no freedom. You don't see games like this anymore at the top level. It's very cagey, it's very cautious, you're waiting for somebody to make a mistake. Yet Hansi Flick's Barca, they come out and they say, look, we're going to take risks, we're going to step up, we're going to play a high line, and we are going to do that no matter what. And yeah, for sure, we took risks yesterday, we conceded goals yesterday, but it's also that same system, that same mentality there, the attacking intent that we have, which enables us to always bounce back. We went 2-0 down, nothing to do with the high line, nothing to do with the way that we were playing, and it's because, though, of the system that we have the belief that we can bounce back. Whether we concede 1 goal, whether we concede 2 goals, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where we're playing, doesn't matter who we're playing. Barca will always believe Hansi Flick has instilled that mentality, and we saw it yet again. On one of the biggest stages you could imagine, Barca are never out of a game. And I do think, guys, looking at the second leg here, looking at the way that maybe people now would say, oh, well, Inter, surely they're the favourites. They've come away, they've scored 3 goals away at Barcelona, they're heading now into their home leg at their own stadium. Are they now favourites to go through? And I would look at Inter and I would say, okay, they had 3 shots on target, though. You know, in the whole game here, they may have scored 3 times, which is absolutely incredible finishing, but they only had 3 shots on target. 2 of those goals came from corners there. We did not deal well with very basic Inter attacks and big moments there from set pieces, and they scored once in the first 30 seconds. And I think even despite leading 2-0 for them, even despite scoring those 3 goals, in the end, they've still failed to win. You know, they had a massive opportunity here to catch Barca off guard, because do not forget, Barca were a team last night who ended that match without 3 of their 4 trusted players in the back line. You know, we ended that with a very disrupted defensive unit, and we didn't have our 40-goal a season centre forward. Let's not underrate that here. And this also comes right after what we all admit was the most physically demanding game we have played all season. They're going to extra time in the cup final against Madrid. So it feels as though here, with the absences Barca had, with the way the game went, with the mental and physical struggles that we were going through, to come back in the way we did, to actually draw this game and come out basically unscathed, I will take that right now, because what you saw again last night was Inter, much like all of the teams we've faced recently, they targeted our left side. Gerard Martin was highlighted by Inter as the weak link, and it's not really to place unnecessary burden on him, but that's just the way that it is. Barca are a top team, they've got top players right across the field. Gerard Martin, though, he is that weak link, and that is why we saw Denzel Dumfries have the game of his life. I mean, people who've watched this guy in Serie A all season, they haven't seen that kind of performance. Dumfries has been playing nowhere near that level, and yet yesterday he ran us ragged, and that comes from that one weakness that spreads to the rest of the team, and like I've said already, that may not be the case in the second leg. And this, for me, guys, is when it gets very, very interesting indeed, because obviously all throughout the build-up to this game, I think we've all compared Inter Milan to Atletico Madrid, one of those teams who have an incredible defensive organisation there, but can also transition very, very well. They caused us problems yesterday, they can work the ball from back to front very, very quickly, and they've got extremely dangerous attacking players. And what makes this even more intriguing is that, have we seen this story before? Because you think back to the Copa del Rey. You think back to that first leg that we played against Atletico Madrid, when, do not forget, we conceded early. We actually went 2-0 down in that game. We rallied, we came back, we played an absolutely incredible game from that moment on, aside from the end. And in the end, that was a 4-4 game. We came away from that first leg at home with only a draw. And then we went into the second leg. Again, it's a tough game with a tough place to go, tough team to face. But in that one, we came out on top. Is it going to be the same kind of game, same kind of feeling away at Inter? Because I would say it's going to be a very different feeling psychologically to the one that we had against Borussia Dortmund, when, of course, we won so comfortably in the first leg. We went away then, and I think we let our guard down. Now, I think it's a good thing, actually, that we head into this second leg with nothing to protect. You know, we don't have anything here burdening us. We don't have any reason to be cautious. We basically have to start again. And what that does, it focuses everybody. We cannot go there and think, oh, we're in a great position, we're doing well, we've got something to lose. We have to go there now and win. It's a very, very simple task. You go there, you are 90 minutes away from the final. It's a position that we'd have all taken at the start of the season. You could be 90 minutes and one win away from the Champions League final. We are still in this. We are still massively in with a chance. We can do it. And of course, guys, one of the big reasons why we feel as though we can do it, we can do anything, it's because we have Lamine Yamal. What a player, what a performance last night. And I've got to say, guys, remember before the game when we were talking there about Yamal in his press conference, all the words that he said there about having no fear, total confidence there, not arrogance, but certainly confidence in himself and his team. And I have to say, and we have to point out here, every word that he has said this season, people have spoken about it, people have looked at it a little bit strangely. He has backed up every word, everything that he has said. He's gone out on the field and he has delivered upon those words. And yesterday, it was no different. And actually, it was a whole new level of genius. It was special. It was amazing to actually witness. That goal alone was outrageous there. And he actually hit the crossbar on 2 separate occasions. He could have had an absolutely stunning hat-trick, to be honest. Let's be honest here. He could have had a hat-trick in this game. And after it there, Inzaghi, the Inter coach, he had to applaud what he had seen from Yamal. He said Yamal created so many problems for us. He's a player that I hadn't seen live before. We had to double up on him. Yamal is a phenomenon that is born every 50 years. He really impressed me today. So such high praise there from the opposition coach. And then from Flick, I mean, we've heard all season long what he thinks about Yamal. He said he showed us the way. And just think about what that means there. Lamine Yamal, a 17-year-old in a Champions League final, showing the rest of the Barcelona team the way. That's the authority of this young man. That is what he is capable of. He's special. I've said it often. He is a genius. It's unbelievable what he's doing. And Flick went on to say, in the big games, like the semi-final today, like the final as well against Real Madrid, he shows us how good he is. He rises to that occasion, and that's what we need from him. He's always there, and I'm really happy that this talent, who comes once every 50 years, plays right here for Barca. And that is absolutely true there. In the biggest games, in the biggest moments, Yamal is capable of elevating his level. And of course, after this latest performance from Yamal, very much so on the world stage as well, rather inevitably, there have been comparisons. I mean, you all know that it's going to come. And of course, it's even more frustrating in some ways because Yamal said him before the game, I don't like these comparisons. I don't want to be compared to the likes of Lionel Messi. I respect all of these people, but I am taking my own path. I am on my own journey. But still, you won't stop the media. And what they've come up with here is the comparison between Yamal right now at 17 years old, when he has already played 100 games, to Lionel Messi and to Cristiano Ronaldo. And as you can see there, the stats are unbelievable. Now, I think it's interesting because obviously everybody peaks at different times. There's no saying here just because Yamal is doing this now that he is going to get better and better and better. You've got to put the work in because those two certainly did. Messi and Ronaldo worked hard year upon year upon year, and then their careers were all about consistency. So right here we're seeing unbelievable quality at this age. When you see it compared to those other two greats of the game, what he's doing is extraordinary. It is something we have never ever seen before. But I think what this highlights as well, guys, and what we've all got to say, the club have to support him. The club have to make sure they take care of him. He's played a lot of games already. There's a lot of demands on his shoulders. He's dealing with it all so well. And I mean, yesterday, it was absolutely wonderful, extraordinary to see him do what he did. And I just thought it was so special to sort of witness that performance and then see all of the pundits, all of those in the media, even players there, just applauding him out. They could not help but be wowed by what they are seeing. Erling Haaland there posting on social media, what a display, what an incredible performance. And I have to say as well, Haaland has been quite enjoying watching Barca recently. He's been quite entertained by what we are doing, but not everybody was 100% convinced, because we do have a quote here from Marcus Thuram, who says Yamal is not the best player in the world. He said, no, he is not. The best player in the world is French, and the second best player in the world is French. Ousmane Dembele and Kylian Mbappe. After that, maybe Lamine third. So Marcus Thuram there, just playing down the Yamal praise, and I like to see this. I want to see players do this from the opposition, because we've seen many times before. If you want to doubt Lamine, do it at your own risk. He will be ready, and he'll be right there in the second leg. However, guys, speaking about that second leg, well, let's start with one player who is extremely unlikely to be there for Barca. It is going to be Jules Kounde. Now, that is the really unfortunate thing here about this first leg. There were casualties, and Kounde was certainly one of those. They're a player who's been outstanding for us this season, and a player, of course, who was at the heart of that incredible win over Real Madrid. And now in this game here, somebody who's played so much football, so much minutes, and can I also just say, we saw the same thing with Lautaro Martinez, and unfortunately, this is something that's going to happen. There has been so many games, too many games, and now when we're at the business end of the season, now is when we should be seeing the absolute best of players, the best of teams. We're in survival mode. The players are suffering, and we're not able to see teams fielding their best players in the biggest moments of the season, and that's a massive shame. And right here, we have lost Kounde to a hamstring injury. He had to be withdrawn. That significantly hampered Barca there on the right side, and it looks as though he is pretty much done for the second leg there. It could be an injury that could keep him out for 2 to 3 weeks of action. Right now we're hearing he's looking at the final. That is the realistic point of view right now, that Kounde would love to be available for the Champions League final if we can make it there without him there in the second leg. So it's possible that we could lose Kounde on the right side, one of our key fullbacks, but then on the other side, we may be able to welcome back Balde. It's like right now, we can't have both of them. We're not lucky enough to be blessed with both of our incredible fullbacks. We always have to be without one. But I think looking at that right side, as opposed to what we've seen over on the left in Balde's absence, of course, we don't have much cover there. We do not have depth on the left side, admittedly at right back. We're not blessed either. but I think there is more there. As much as Kounde has been such a key player, we will badly miss him, I'm not disputing that. But Eric Garcia's come in, he's deputised very, very well, he's really stepped up when called upon. You've also got Hector Fort, of course, who's in and around, he's in the mix, but also don't forget, Ronald Araujo, he can play out there. You know, we have seen him in the past play out at right back, especially for his country as well, so he's got that in the locker, it's an option, and although it's still not ideal, we don't want to lose Kounde, we needed him, we really, really did, but I do feel, on the right as opposed to the left, we have slightly more options if required, because when it does come to Alejandro Balde, well, he has a real chance of being there, and that's a massive, massive thing there for Balde to be back, to be fit. He's expected to have the green light there ahead of next week's game, and if he does, he will start against Inter. Now that would be massive, given what we've said here about Inter really targeting our left side, really targeting the inexperience of Gerard Martin, to have Balde back not only defensively, but also going forward too, because I also think here, without Balde, Rafinha has suffered. He has not been at the same level in recent games, because he hasn't had that player going on the outside of him, providing that threat to take attention away from him. I think Balde is so key to Rafinha's performance too, and to have the two of them on that left side away at Inter, it's what we need. It is really what we want to have in that game, and it will be huge if he does return. But what then of Robert Lewandowski? Because speaking of players that we miss, and especially the kind of game that it was against Inter, in my opinion, we badly miss Robert Lewandowski. You know, there have been games this season whereby he's been on the bench, whereby we've rested him, whereby maybe it hasn't suited him perfectly, but I think this type of game against Inter, it was kind of perfect for him there. The way we completely dominated, we spent much of the game in Inter's half. They were incredibly deep. We needed there the out-and-out centre-forward, and especially with the amount of really dangerous crosses that Yamal was whipping into the penalty area there. Fantastic in-swinging balls. You know, so many times. How many times did you guys at home say, oh, if Lewandowski could have been on the end of that, if Lewandowski could have had that chance? Because Ferran scored a great goal, really fantastic movement, but unfortunately, because of the game, because the space was shut down, we didn't really get to see much of that Ferran movement. It was very, very static there in the front line, and that's much more suited to Robert Lewandowski's game. So, is he going to play in the second leg? Is he going to be available? Well, his situation, his injury, it's more complicated than, say, Balde's. Balde is a lot closer to being guaranteed to play than Lewandowski is. However, you feel like he's going to go for it. You feel as though he's going to travel with the squad to Milan next week. The club then are hoping he will get the medical green light. And as of right now, it's touch and go. Whether he can start the game, whether he can be involved from the start, whether he can come off the bench. But in my opinion, knowing Lewandowski, knowing here, these are the games that matter. These are the moments in your season that you save yourself for, that you put everything on the line for. I think he plays. I really do. I think he forces it. I think he really does work his way to be involved in this game because he knows he can help the team. He can be a big part in Milan if we can get him out there, guys. So in my opinion, Balde will definitely be back. Lewandowski, he will really, really try. But unfortunately, we will be missing Jules Kounde. And my big question, guys, from this video today is, to all of you, what do you do on Saturday against Valladolid? In your opinion, how many changes? How many of the starting 11 that we saw yesterday would you rest against Valladolid? That's what we're going to be discussing tomorrow because in my opinion, it's got to be a lot. It has to be a significant amount of rotation this weekend. But let me know in the comments down below exactly how you're feeling right now and exactly what your feeling is heading into the second leg against Inter. I will see all of you guys soon. Thank you for the incredible support and let's stay positive here. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.